People are saying that Bessias betrayed Xandão, waited for the deadline, right? Didn't comply, right? With the deadline that the American justice system set, that Alexandre de Moraes should have filed an appeal and all that. And President Trump's lawyer, they're working on several fronts, has just asked the American court for the case to go to default judgment. The walls are closing in on Xandão. It's at this stage. They're working on several fronts. I'll show everything here. Smash that like button, hit it, share it, show more people the news so everyone can have access to the news and information. Guys, before we start, I want to show you the opportunity. Let me show you Slim Fever. I always put the video here that I made recently, 2 kilos in a day. Then people say, no, it's just water and stuff. Look at the images. Look at my face. Look at my face. I only sell the product here because I fully trust it. Look at my face. Look at the image. This here has been months. Not even a year this here, months. I know what I'm talking about. Look at my pants. Look how loose they are. And look, they're already like this. I don't even wear a belt, see? You can fit a hand in here. No, the product works. Obviously, you have to have discipline, right? That's how dieting is. You have to plan, but it helps a lot. Guys, it was 20 kilos. 20 kilos that I lost, right? After 40, things get harder. To lose weight, it really is harder. Even practicing physical activity every day, and I wasn't able to lose weight. Focus, discipline, I managed to lose. The images speak for themselves. Look at my face. My face is totally different, right? So, it's worth it. If you don't want to miss this opportunity, it's an easier, completely natural way. It's a little powder that you add, right? Especially with those greasy meals, it will help you eliminate fat, lose inches. The link is right here, just below. A great opportunity to lose weight in a healthy way, with quality of life. It totally changes things. Pants that didn't fit before start to fit, and our self-esteem gets much higher. That's the fact, right? The link is right below for those who don't want to miss this opportunity to lose weight today, okay? Claudio Dantas had put it here, right? The AGU went to the U.S. courts claiming Brazilian sovereignty, while ignoring the violation of American sovereignty itself by Alexandre de Moraes. They're cynical people who think they're dealing with stupid people, right? They think they're swimming freely, that any speech for the fools here will fool them. But in the American courts, it's totally different, right? Are they gonna fool Americans? Do they think those guys, folks, we're talking about a country here, right? Which is the greatest power in the world. Lula thought he could negotiate with Trump, but he didn't keep his word. Thought it would all be even, but look at what's happening now. The humiliation it was, right? Let's see here, because Martin DeLuca, this great lawyer, wonderful lawyer, great, just released it a little while ago, just now. Look, this morning, Rumble and Trump Media asked the United States Court to declare default against the Brazilian Supreme Federal Court Minister, Alexandre de Moraes. Moraes was duly notified by a method authorized by a federal judge. The 21-day deadline to respond has expired. He did not appear, did not respond, and did not ask for more time. The government of Brazil tried to intervene at the 11th hour, but clarified that it does not represent Moraes. All around the world, governments are increasingly trying to regulate expression beyond their borders. What sets Moraes' case apart is that a foreign official can now be held accountable in a United States court for trying to regulate the expression of American people within the United States, circumventing the First Amendment, and for seeking private data of American users, bypassing the United States legal process. This case is not about whether Brazil can apply Brazilian law in Brazil. It's about whether a foreign judge can use secret orders to reach the United States and control expression, data, and platforms through coercive and unlawful threats. The answer should matter to every American, regardless of politics. And here he also sends a message to Americans. The situation is so outrageous that there were supporters of the Workers' Party saying that when he brought up that situation there, and so on, about Elon Musk, issuing a fine against X, taking money from a company that had nothing to do with the other to cover fines and so on. Cases like that, there was practically no justice. There was nothing about justice, but I mean the speed. These cases take years. Then Alexandre de Moraes issues a fine on X, right? And then the very next week, he goes ahead and orders the bank to withdraw money because the accounts weren't here in Brazil. They were over there in the United States. He ordered money to be withdrawn from Starlink, which had nothing to do with X, right? He takes money from one company to cover the fine of another, his imaginary fine and all, and I think that this lawsuit still hasn't arrived. Elon Musk will act at the right moment, okay? That's a fact. He even adds, look, imagine an American judge sending secret orders by email to Brazilian companies. The orders require them to take actions within Brazil and to violate Brazilian law. The Brazilian executives are instructed in the email by the American judge not to notify the Brazilian authorities or anyone else under a secret order. Would anyone in Brasilia call that respect for American sovereignty? He said, if a judge there issues a fine to Magazine Luiza, let's say, right, issues an order to Magazine Luiza, look, you're going to do this, and this, okay? We're not going to tell anyone, okay? And you'll have to comply with this. Just imagine what they were up to. The speech about sovereignty, they didn't go against the press. They advanced Brazilian sovereignty. They're Brazilian companies. Do you see how their narrative changes according to their convenience? It changes completely. Sovereignty is not a one-way shield, he says here. If the Supreme Court minister wants his orders to have effect in another country, he must go through the law, the courts, and the due process of that country. This principle protects Brazil, and it also protects the United States. That's what I was talking about. Their paranoia was so intense that they were saying the federal police would go into the United States, get Elon Musk at his mansion, and bring him here to Brazil to arrest him. No, there were PT supporters who said that. And it wasn't that idiot, that guy named Peninha, saying that his daughter lives right next door, right next to Elon Musk in the United States, and that she'd go help the police get Elon Musk. Peninha's daughter, who lives in the United States, it's like this, they hate the United States, but all their relatives live in the United States. They all live there. Barroso did have a property there, worth 30 million reais in the United States. 30 million for each minister. 30 million reais in one of the most luxurious places that good old capitalism can buy, right? In the United States. They're betting on the following scenario. Well, Trump won't be president anymore in a few years. The Democrats vote. So they're just delaying the issue. But they don't understand that it's going to be very hard for the Democrats to win there, okay? And that's it. The guys said that the federal police would enter the United States, and the international press isn't buying that little sovereignty narrative, not at all. Brazil condemned Jair's son to the international press, and the press isn't respecting sovereignty, not at all. You know, right? It's dangerous. Lula can do anything. The PT supporter can go to the United States or Europe and ask for intervention, but it's about sovereignty. But it's something we're keeping an eye on. Look at that. Martim, the lawyer, mentioned several. And there were more impeachment requests against Alexandre de Moraes. Now, because of the Italian decision, the 52nd impeachment request against Alexandre de Moraes has just been filed. That must be a world record. Do you know any other judge with more impeachment requests anywhere else in the world? In January 2026 of this year, Xandão reported that Moraes was leading with 41 impeachment requests. In 6 months, there have already been 11 more requests. 50 and 52. Impeachment requests, which we obviously don't have. It's the old one.
Which?
The president of the Senate, right? Pacheco, little Pacheco, right? He was dying to get into the Supreme Federal Court. He didn't make it. He was betrayed by Lula. He might even leave politics. Batoré, right, my friends? Do you think he's crazy enough to file an impeachment request? Especially him. Especially him. But next year, things are going to be different. Totally different. Very different. And that's why we have to fight here. Martim adds, Moraes' time is coming, and he predicts a conviction in the United States. And this conviction, so you understand, will be financial. There, it's not a little fine of 5,000 or 10,000 like, for example, if the person isn't well known, they get a little fine of 10,000, right? For honor, for damaging someone's reputation, and so on. If it's an artist who's suing, usually the lawsuit is for 20 to 30,000. If it's a minister, someone important in politics, then it's 100, 100, 150,000. In the United States, it's not like that. It's from 10 to 100 million, and it's not in reais, it's in dollars. All the money you think is a lot won't be enough to pay the fine, if you want to know.
And notification by email wouldn't be more appropriate. It would violate diplomatic agreements. Your assessment and also your explanation about what should happen after this email notification. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for the invitation. Look, I think this talk is of little relevance. It's simply a distraction. Whether the minister responds as a private individual or as the Brazilian state, it doesn't matter. The defendant has 20 days now to respond. In whatever way he wants, however he wants, with the Brazilian state or without the Brazilian state, whether he should respond as a private individual or in his official capacity will be determined by the federal court in the United States, not by media chatter in Brazil. The important thing is that he responds, which we are respectfully waiting for. So that's the first fundamental point, right? Regarding diplomatic channels, the Brazilian government and Alexandre de Moraes have already been notified in every imaginable way. When the case started, the matter was raised with the United States Department of Justice.
These guys are not messing around. Xandão's situation is pretty complicated, and we're seeing that right now. Take a look. The guys aren't gonna stop, okay? Smash that like button, hit the like hard, come join our family, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, leave your comments, share a lot, use the web to help this video reach more and more people, alright? I'm already back here on the channel Pais e Filhos, Fabiano Guiguet,